could wear a blindfold. No matter what I do, I'm coming home to you. And I don't know why, don't know why, don't know why I'm always feeling homesick. Oh, all I know, all I know, all I know is this is where my heart is. Oh.
This place here is the home of like probably 50% of my happy childhood memories. This is like my heaven, this place. I spent countless days by myself or with friends or with my brother, just being free and wild, and no adults. The nearest adult is like a half a kilometer away, probably actually a kilometer away now that I think about it. And I was just free. It was just such a beautiful, free childhood. And I'm so grateful. I am so grateful that I had the freedom that I had. And I love bringing my kids here to show them this. It's like, I mean, it's changed. It's not exactly the same as it was when I was a kid. The water's a bit grosser. Or maybe it was gross then and I just didn't care as much. But it's pretty much the same. It's still very untouched by the world. I mean, as much as you can get for Ontario. There's like a farmer's field like 40 feet over there. But it's all forest on that side, but there's paths through the forest. But it's quiet. Not a lot of people know about this place. It's kind of a bit of a secret. And I have just so many happy memories here. And I know that I won't have access to this forever. And that really breaks my heart. I love that I can bring my kids here. And I wish that I'd brought them more over the past few years. But it's quite hard to get back here. Nobody maintains the trails anymore. So you can really only go in the spring or in the winter. So we usually come at least once a year. I'd really like to lug some tents back here and camp back here. I think that would be pretty awesome. So we're spending the weekend at my parents' house, which I'm quite happy. And I thought maybe I'd show it to you. I guess I should ask my parents how they feel about that. They will not be in this video. I guarantee you that. My mother has no interest in being in this video. But maybe I can show you this place that's special to me. So my parents bought the house that they live in. So they bought this place in 1975. So they've had this, last year was their 50th year in this place. So this has always been home. Whenever I've traveled all over the world, when I've been in Australia and China and England and Africa and all those places, this has been, you know, like the anchor. So I've never felt really a sense of homelessness. I've always known anytime, this is, you know, I focus a lot on the disadvantages that I had, but I had such an advantage that I had a home. Always. That was always the same home. And it was such a beautiful gift to have. And I'm sad that I won't have that always. And I would love to have been able to buy this place, but that's, I didn't get rich enough. I didn't get rich quick enough for that. So, yeah, we'll have to say goodbye to it soon. Which, you know, that's life, isn't it? The things that you love and the things that you lose, you know, the more painful it is to lose something, that means that you were lucky that you loved it, right?
I have seen many places where the beauty never ends. Different cities, friendly faces, and perhaps I'm going back. But I don't have to be
Do you want me to get them to you?
chasing every dream. I
wanted to go back to the river behind my parents' place again today because they had such a good time there yesterday. But the more Bethany thought about the leeches, the more she thought, maybe I don't actually want to go back there after all. Is there a part of the river where there's not so many leeches? She said she did get a lot of, I've never seen anything like it. So she had like 4 or 5 adult leeches on her, but then she also must have stepped in a nest or something because she had like 20 baby leeches on her feet and legs. I've never seen anything like that before. So she handled it well. She didn't freak out. She doesn't panic or anything like that. She knows leeches are harmless. But it's too bright to take those off, and it's too hard to see me when I leave them on. So yeah, she said she wasn't really sure she wanted to go back to the river. So we talked about the different options, and they decided we would we're at the lake, but there's this river that runs into the lake, and Abby's hoping to catch some fish and build a raft, and it's good times. They'll have a good time here. We're here for one more day, and then we gotta head home. I've been thinking a bit more about this attachment styles thing, and I made a short about it, about my complaint about it, but like the implication whenever people are talking about attachment styles is that, you know, you develop this attachment style when you're young and it messes up your relationships, and so that a person who's anxious attached is irrationally afraid that the other person is going to leave them. No matter what assurances they get, it's some asphalt. No matter what assurances they get that they're safe, they never feel safe, and they always want more reassurance. And the implication that an avoidant attachment style, that's again something they learned when they were young, that relationships were dangerous places and people couldn't be trusted, and so now whenever they're in a relationship they never trust the other person because it's neural pathways that have been formed in their brain when they were young, and they haven't been able to overcome those neural pathways, and that there are ways to retrain your brain so that you can become a securely attached person. But I was a securely attached person as a child. I trusted my parents, and I have always trusted people, and in the last 10 years or so, I have come to learn that that is really problematic, and that I have trusted people who didn't deserve trusting. And like, I find when people say I am this type of person, I tend to believe them. If people say I am self-aware, I believe them. And people say I am kind and generous, I believe them. When they say I'm so generous, I put other people's needs before myself, I believe them. I believe people, and I have found in the last few years in particular that people are lying. I believe them, and so when their actions don't match the identity that they say they are, I'm like, well, they must be having a bad day. I make excuses for them. You know, I give people the benefit of the doubt when they make mistakes, that they're doing their best and that their best will be better when they're in a better place. But then again and again and again, they prove to me that the person that they say they are isn't the person they actually are, and that means that I have stopped trusting people. It's not an irrational reaction based on some trauma from my childhood. This is a real, rational survival mechanism that I have developed in recent years, because I have found that people in relationships can't be trusted. People are lying about who they are. People are pretending to be someone other than they are. So I have become insecurely attached because I have learned that I shouldn't trust people so much. Which is sad. I liked being securely attached. I liked trusting people. I liked believing in the kindness of people. I liked giving people the benefit of the doubt. I would much prefer to be that kind of person. And then I find that also, you know, what this guy was saying, that the way to become securely attached is to focus on your positive experiences from your childhood. Focus on the positive rather than the negative. And I would like to do that, but at the same time, I found I kept making the same mistakes again and again and again and again because I was focusing on the positive. So in recent years, I have started focusing on the negative to remind myself not to make the same mistakes. So I'm focusing on, look at this negative thing this person did to me, and they did this negative thing, and they did this negative thing, and they did this negative thing, and they did this negative thing. I have to remember that they did those negative things so that I don't fall for it again, so that I don't get fooled again, so that I don't get tricked into trusting them when they shouldn't be trusted again. And so I find myself focusing on the negative as a survival technique. I don't want to focus on the negative. I would much rather see the world through a positive light. I'm sitting in a noisy place. See, they're right over our heads. So what do I do about this? What do I do about this? I mean, I feel I'm not angry at myself for trusting people because I think it's a good quality to trust people. But I also know that I just can't keep wallowing in the same mistakes over and over again. And those mistakes come to me because I trust people. And the only answer I can come to is just not be around people. I have to be alone. If I am completely alone, then I can stop focusing on the negative and I can just be present in the moment and enjoy the beauty that is my life. And I can focus on the positive of my childhood, and I can focus on the positive relationships that I have had. Because of course I've had lots of positive relationships, and it's such a shame that I've got, 4 or 5 really negative relationships that have just spoiled me for everybody else. So anyways, I'm working through it. I'm sure there will be more in this video as I'm continue to work through it. It's, something about going home makes you dig up your past, isn't it? But I'm loving what the girls are doing right now. I mean, ideally, what I would like is to not have to ever rely on people. If I never have to rely on people, then it doesn't matter if I can trust them or not. They can be whoever they are, and I'm not putting any weight on them. If I'm not putting on any weight on something, then if they are untrustworthy, it doesn't matter, because I can just trust myself. I can just stand on my own 2 feet and take care of myself. Unfortunately, I'm too poor for that shit. So, there we go. All right, what you working on? What's going on here? A raft?
Yeah.
Ah, very cool. So you want to try it before we go?
Yeah, I'll sit in the back. Actually, I want to sit in the front. Actually, no, sit in the back, because the back's in... You know what? I'll just sit in whatever side for that.
Of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you.
Okay, I'm home now. I meant to film at my parents' actual house so I could show it off a little bit, but I forgot. I got caught up talking to my parents. So I'm home now. The girls have gone to their dad's. So and it's gonna be hot today. So they're gonna spend the whole day in the pool. And I'm trying to get some work done outside before it gets too hot to work outside. And then I'm gonna go inside and sit in Dawn's air conditioning and edit. I'm harvesting peas. I have learned something about myself over the years. The garden is my passion. The kitchen is not. So I'm really good at growing the vegetables. I am not good at putting them up. This is the first time I have ever even attempted to mass harvest peas and freeze them. So and there's no one else here that does it. So it's always kind of been a bit of a waste. You know, I plant all these peas and then I don't do anything with them. Like we snack on them in the garden, or I'll put them in salads, but that's it. So what I really need to do is be in a relationship with a chef. That's what I need. So the last thing I was thinking about with my parents' house, because, you know, I was talking about attachment theory and about how sort of I did experience trauma in my childhood. My brother was very violent with some sort of undiagnosed medical condition, mental health condition. I can't even begin to guess. Well, I have some guesses about what his issue was, but because I was younger than him, I bore the brunt of his violence. And so because that violence happened in that house, there's part of me that sort of thinks, you know, that I would hate that place because it would carry the memories, or it would carry the negative energy or something. But it doesn't really carry a negative energy for me. I don't feel constantly reminded of the pain or the trauma when I'm in that place. I feel at peace in that place. I think it's maybe enough time has passed, or maybe there's been just enough renovations on the house that it doesn't feel the same to me. So I sort of feel like, you know, when I was talking about the attachment theory and about how you know, the guy is saying that to be securely attached, you need to focus on your positive childhood experiences or your positive life experience rather than your negative life experiences. So I was sort of asking myself while I was there, if I lived here, would I find myself trapped in reflection on the negativity of my childhood? And I don't think I would. I don't feel it there. I don't see it there. I do a little bit. Like, I definitely thought about my brother when I was there, but I sort of thought more about the good times that we had together, because like, he broke every single door in that house, and he broke every single window in that house. But none of that stuff is the same. Those windows are not the same. Those doors are not the same. Like, the immediate reminders of the violence are not there. But that river is the same, and that forest is the same, and those fields are the same, and the peacefulness and the wildness of the place is the same, and that's affiliated with the positive memories. So, I don't know, it's a tricky thing working through trauma. And I know it's the sort of thing that you're supposed to have a therapist to do, but number one, I'm too poor for a therapist, and number two, I've done quite a bit of therapy, and I feel like it's very hard to find a therapist who doesn't tell me the stuff I already know. You know? It's very hard to find a therapist who doesn't tell me stuff I already know if I don't go to therapy. But it's, you know, it's complicated. Therapy is not, people always say therapy is the solution. Ask for help, but you know what? You ask for help long enough and you find that you don't really get help. I'm finding this with, I've got this thing going on with my neck. I've got another thing going on with my, hip joint, my pelvis. And they both happened around the same time, and the neck was more pressing. It gave me more headaches. I was able to ignore the pelvis thing a little bit more. So I went to an osteopath, and she said, yeah, I think that should fix it, and it didn't. And then I went to a chiropractor, and he said, yeah, that should have fixed it, and it didn't. And then I went to the same chiropractor again, and he said, yeah, that should fix it, and it didn't. So I went to a different chiropractor, and he's like, yeah, that should fix it, and it didn't. And they're all so ready to say, yes, I can fix you. Give me your money, and I can fix you. And it doesn't fix it. And I've spent the money, and I've taken the time, and it doesn't fix it. And I took Bethany she's got really bad pigeon toe. So I took her to a chiropodist, I don't know how you say it, to try and figure out if there's anything that they can do about it. And they never said whether they could help or not. They were just like, well, we can do this test, but it costs extra unless you get the orthotics, and then it's free. And I'm like, well, do I need orthotics? It's not a bad idea. Like, they were ready to take like $600 of my money. And then finally, by the end of the appointment, I was like, well, hold on. If I'm reading between the lines, I get the impression that what you're saying right now is that there's nothing that can be done about pigeon toe, that it can't be fixed. And they're like, well, kind of, yeah. I mean, the orthotics might help. The only way to know is to try. I'm like, $600. I don't have running water in my house. And you want me to spend $600 for something that might help? So I've kind of come to this place where I just don't want to ask for help anymore because it costs money, it takes time, and then they don't help. They can't help. And that's been my experience across the board. You know, now Abby's getting these migraines. And her dad is really like, you need to take her to a doctor. And I'm like, the doctor's not going to be able to help. They're going to eliminate a bunch of things that it could be. And then they're going to say you're on your own. And that's exactly what happened. We went to the nurse practitioner, and I love my nurse practitioner. She's a great person. But it's exactly what I knew was going to happen. Well, it doesn't seem to be cancer. It doesn't seem to be any of these other more serious things. It's probably just migraines. All you can do is try and figure out a way for her to take medication for migraines. That's exactly what I knew was going to happen. So, and she's like, you know, and keep track of the migraines and see if you can spot patterns. I was already doing that. I've kind of given up on help. I've kind of come up to the idea through my life. You know, I have always believed that people will help and people are kind and all you have to do is ask for help. And people want to help, but for the most part they can't. Or the help that you need is something that they're unwilling to get, like money. Most people are not willing to give money. So that is why I'm so fiercely freaking independent, because I have just learned that that's all there is, which is sad. I would like to not be, and I'm not really cynical about it. I'm not really, you know, people are assholes. It's just people want to help, but a lot of the time they don't know how and they just can't. I guess where I get cynical is the people who take money saying that they can help. And you know what the thing is? Maybe with other people they can help. Maybe it's just me. Maybe my problems are unique, that they cannot be solved. I don't know. We're getting into the weeds now. Look at me doing therapy on the internet. But the garden is good therapy, isn't it? The garden is peace and quiet, and it gives me purpose, and there's things that I can do to actually make a difference. The garden is real. It's something you can touch and feel with your hands, and you can see with your eyes, and you can't ignore the cycle of nature. You can't hide from it. And there's a certain element of control, but also a certain element of lack of control. It's really, you know, when some people like their gardens perfectly neat and orderly and immaculate, just like they like their lives perfectly neat and ordered and immaculate. And then there's me, who's sort of accepted that there's only so much you can do, and sometimes you just sort of hold on and enjoy the wild ride that is, you know, the passage of time, that you can't slow it down, you can't control it, you can just do your best and see what happens. And that's my gardening style. Just do your best, and it's a wild ride, and see what happens. There's always stuff in the garden that I miss out on, and then I'm like, well, that passed me by. I didn't have time for that. I didn't keep up to that. That one got away from me, and that's sort of how life is, isn't it? All right, that's it. I think my battery's almost dead. So thanks, guys, for coming home with me to my old home and then back to my new home. Take care. Have a good one. See you next time.
Of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you.